Hello, my fellow Virgos, and welcome to a special love reading for you. Um, something shifted in the sky on the 22nd, and that's not my forte, so I can't even remember what planets it was, but it was some type of a rare alignment. Um, and I guess it's not going to happen again, at least in this lifetime. At least for me, well, probably for all of us. What was I going to say? Oh, but it spoke about how the energy almost feels like it had something to do with Venus. But the energy was bringing love together. And it is one of the reasons why I decided to do this love series, just to see what's going on, just to see what's going on. I don't know why all of a sudden I felt like I had to summer listen. I would say just be open to the messages. And by the way, real quick, when I am pre-shuffling the decks, because I do, it's really when I'm just meditating on your sign. And normally, I get clues or like I see images of what the reading is like, which direction it's going. I have to tell you what I kept hearing over and over and over again, that it was about me, that I didn't choose this spiritual path. This spiritual path chose me. I didn't choose it. It chose me. I really knew nothing about it. Yet here I am, 20 years later. Um, it's all I do. So it's interesting. It's interesting how your life can be one way for maybe half your life, and then the second half is completely different. So, the reason why I bring that up is I'm also Virgo. I am committed to a Virgo with a Virgo moon. Um, so, anyway, we'll see. Let's just see. So, what we're going to do, of course, is give Mother Mary the honor of opening up our reading, the crystal vision. To go deeper, by the way, um, Christina loved this deck and really asked me if I'd bring it back. Um, and I'm kind of surprised, like, that I had it buried. But as you get new decks, certain decks get buried and you forget to bring them back out. So she asked for them, and they are just like, they just want to be part of our reading. But Christina, I haven't seen you for a while. I'm worried. Um, anyway, for the main spread, we're going to use the Universal Tarot. Okay, so Virgo, my fellow Virgos, let's begin. This is a type of reading where you kind of want to leave your expectations at the door and definitely bring your intuition in. Lately, I've been hearing and have been saying, like, there are messages like within the messages. And I feel like what that means is, like, it depends on where someone's at. You know what I mean? Like, if someone's still in the struggle, well, they may hear the messages on one level, but someone who, let's say you're in the struggle, but like you see the light, you know the way out. It's just now the action. I feel like you hear them even in a deeper way. You know what I mean? It's almost like it's your guiding light. I mean, well, thinking it's kind of like giving yourself quite the ego, Sandy, but I don't mean it that way at all. And I wasn't even talking about me. All right. Anyway, Mother Mary, Mother Mary. Look at that. Action. Surprise, surprise. It's getting to the point where sometimes I feel like I can just kind of do away with the tarot cards, but I like the imagery. I like how the story unfolds. It's the movie of you. And I'm enthralled. I'm all into it. All right, action, action. By the way, I also want to give a shout out to um, my podcast members. Something new I started. Well, I mean, maybe a year. But I know some of you listen, and I want to give you a shout out too. So, anyways, action. Today, I take action related to the priorities that I have previously put off. Action. I bet we get the Ace of Wands. Joy. Joy. By enjoying this moment, I am giving thanks to God for my life. Joy. Action. But I feel like with a light heart, almost like following the light. All right, well, and then you have Jesus. There you go. Wow, I was going to read something completely different. Why? I pray for Jesus' help and guidance with this situation. So some of you clearly, I feel like you're receiving signs. I feel like, number one, your prayers are being heard. Not only heard, but now it feels like it may take your human action, but that human action, even if it's a baby step, and just knowing that you're going in the right way, even if, like, I'm still kind of in the dark, know that the light just is just down the street, just around the corner. You're almost there. And what a joyous time. What a time to celebrate. Okay. Action, joy, Jesus. AJJ. I don't know why I just said that. Be funny if one of you had initials AJJ. Could be JJ or AJ. All right. Let's begin the tarot portion. It's funny. I'm not in a hurry, and I know that might be driving some of you mad. Lately, I've been getting comments of people like, "Oh my God, you're so slow," and I can be slow. I know that. Um, and listen, I'm at the point where I read like I read, and that's that. Um, but sometimes I know I can be extra slow, and I feel like you're reading, but it usually means your reading is calling for it. All right, so we open with the King of Cups. King of Cups can be Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Doesn't have to be. Because his head's down low. He's got like that cup in his hand, but his head is low. You don't usually see the king that way. It's like he's got something on his mind. Maybe someone. Hmm. I was going to say he's holding both cups, but he's not. One's a squirrel. You know, the wisdom. of forever, ancient times. He wears that key around his neck, which is funny. I've never seen it around his neck. I've seen it around the queen's, but not his. But there it is. All right. Nine of Swords. Okay. And then the Knight of Wands. Right this moment, I'm not sure who this king is to you, but I feel like this king, it feels like this is more his energy or hers. A king can be male or female. Just put yourself wherever you fit. But anyway, I feel like, let's just say this person has a lot on their mind, and this is a lot of worry. This is a lot of worry. Then you have Jesus saying to hand that worry over. Interesting. And I feel like, I'm going to be honest. I feel like it's the king's energy, but it's also your energy. I feel like they're picking up your energy one way. And it's almost like they're picking up your energy as like, like don't even. But yet and listen, I'm sure there's other stories here, but right now, I feel like, and then you are also in this state of worry. Like it's you having these sleepless nights. It's you not knowing what to do, how to find that joy. And in comes the Knight of Wands. Fast moving energy. How interesting. That could be why I talked about like how this spiritual path chose me. I didn't choose it. For some of you, this Knight of Wands feels like, it almost feels like he's coming from the past, but I mean like from like past lives and coming forward and coming towards you fast. You know, this night is a night of action. Mother Mary literally sent you out the word action. And there could be a lot of fear on whether to go forward with something. Hmm. It's interesting because I feel like there's something holding this king back because I don't feel like he's happy not giving his cup. He feels the opposite. But this is water. It can be very emotional. And, let's be honest, as Virgos, like our words can cut. And I don't know. Like I'm not putting the blame on you at all, but it is true. Our words can cut. So there could have been something. Hmm. All right. So here comes the night. It's like the night comes in, doesn't matter what kind of energy you're in. You know what I mean? It's almost like, the night is sent by a king or queen. It'd be a spirit guide. And I just get the sense where the night is like, doesn't matter. You may be down and out, but I could be changing everything. High Priestess, your intuition. Maybe for some, this isn't what you're not trusting. Because if you were truly, then the Nine of Swords wouldn't be here. Because intuitively, you just know what to do. Now, boy, it sounds like I'm judging, and I don't mean it that way at all. At all. This is your higher self. And it's interesting because I said earlier, like, this night felt like someone who was traveling, like, what do I want? Like time traveling. And it's like it's your future self or your past life self bringing maybe energy. Well, let's continue. Let's see. You know, I feel like when a reading comes out card by card, it wants to be talked by, it wants to be talked, you know, card by card, or the story wants to be told in this way. All right, we're going to take Lou's face up first, which is the Two of Wands, a new path, a new beginning. It's interesting. I feel like for some, there's a sense of worry that has held you back, that has let you like experience passion. And it doesn't even have to mean like maybe some, it's funny because um when I left the guy, well, long story short is there wasn't much time in my life where I was just able to date. You know what I mean? Because it feels like I've gone from one relationship into the next pretty quickly. I don't know, is it a good thing or a bad thing? 22, JJ, 22. The world. Okay, so something has come to completion. Something new is ready to open up. These two twos. It is a love reading. It may be talking about soulmates. It's interesting because I feel like this king may be waiting for something to come to completion. Because I almost feel like he feels like I can't move forward until something comes to completion. So he seems to know. Could be the other way around. Excuse me. Like it could be the other way around. I feel like someone just asked that. Like, could it be the other way around? It could be. But for the majority, I feel like this is about, I almost feel like the fool needs to be out here. Like, this is about you taking a leap forward, whatever it may be, but it's about following your passion, your intuition, the guidance from every lifetime. It feels like it's coming right to you. And it's what's allowing you to move into the Two of Wands. And think about that. Here comes the Knight of Wands that's moving you to the Two of Wands. So the Wands path, passion, desire, hot, spicy. You know what I mean? Can be that type of love that loves hard, fights hard, but then loves hard. All right. Moon. Interesting. Hard, Pisces, ruler of Cancer. The moon certainly feels like uncertainties here. Like, I don't know how it's going to work out. Well, maybe you're writing that chapter. Maybe you have the pen and you get to decide, how do you want this next chapter to be? The world is signifying, excuse me, that this is the next chapter. It just is. It just is. But the moon is also dreamy energy. But I feel like your worries don't allow you to dream. Interesting. Ace of Swords. Okay, so number one, the Ace of Swords is our own truth. Like, it may be like taking a real look at this Nine of Swords, because remember, nine is about reflection, but final reflection. I just want to know, like, what has me, like, all tied up in knots? And is there anything I can do? And if there isn't, then I have to hand that off and keep going. Start anew. You know what I mean? Whatever it may be. I get the sense that this king, or yeah, this king and you don't even, it's like, I feel like you feel each other's energy, but I don't feel like there's contact. Okay. Could be, though. Again, talk about communication, especially coming under the Knight of Wands. Communication coming in. Could be from the past. Could be past lives. Could be really dreamy. Four Cups and the Five of Wands. Wah, wah. Okay, so let's talk about the Four Cups because I think it's important here. This was about emotional dissatisfaction. Like, I'm not happy. I'm not fulfilled. And there is a cup that comes in. This cup is, it's coming from the hand of divine. And, there's that king holding its cup, his cup. But you can see, like, she's looking down. She's looking at what was, what is, not thinking about what could be. Because this cup is coming in. And it's like your intuition is almost trying to let you know that. And what's interesting is I feel like where my focus may be, where my worry may lie, may have to do with the Five of Wands. So I could definitely be dealing with someone else, a lot of ego. This is fighting. It's definitely ego. It's almost like we become roommates. If, let's say, I was connected to someone like we're roommates because all we do is fight. And I feel like what it's trying to say is sometimes we stay just because it's easier than change, than even believing. Sometimes, sometimes something is meant to be. Just, again, what just popped in my mind again? I didn't choose this spiritual path, it chose me. And I mean that in the most beautiful of ways. And I see it not for me, for you. And I don't mean my path, I mean your path. Okay. It's on the bottom of the deck. Page of Cups. I feel like that's the fun loving part of you. That's the part that, as a Virgo, we forget to let come out, and have fun. Like, I don't know about you, but like, I could work all day and night and have. But now that there is love in my life, I have to find that balance. Some of you have been healing the inner child. Then I'm looking at the King of Pentacles and I'm thinking, well, Ten of Pentacles underneath that. I feel like this may not, well, I know it's not for everyone, but right away I felt that some of you knew each other when you lived at home. When you lived at home. So when I say the past, even though I still feel the other stories right now, I feel the story of like we knew each other, maybe loved each other. But I definitely feel you lived at home. You were younger. But this may have nothing to do with that. Because again, you may not know this king. Or what I mean is, you may not, maybe you don't even know he's thinking about you. It's like Sam calling me out of the blue. Did I expect it at all? Not even a bit. Did it change my life from that moment on? You know what I mean? And it was like the Knight of Cups. Truly unexpected. And it was on a Nine of Swords kind of day. Night. Okay, they definitely come out. We have the Nine of Pentacles. So this is a card of Virgo. This is about successful self-employment, that feeling of independence, knowing I could take care of myself. It's interesting because we have both sides of Virgo here. We have the worry part, the overthinking part. Now we have the, like, I can do anything. You may get an epiphany, and next thing you know, you look back. And by the way, when I had that realization, that's what happened. Like, I could see everything, every point in my life that led me right to where I am today. Like, it was just that clear. Five of Swords over the Nine of Swords. Look, I mean, look at what's causing this worry. This is energy outside yourself. But, thinking the card to follow is the Six of Swords, leaving. Some of you, well, I'm just going to say what I feel, but I feel some may be fighting for something that doesn't feel worth it. But yet, we're getting a peek, you know what I mean, at the potential of what can be, but it feels different. Like, it feels like right now, some of you are dealing with some, bad communication, fighting, you know, there doesn't feel like there's fulfillment. Some of it is due to not knowing maybe what I'm going to do next. It may be why Jesus is here. Like, ask me, ask yourself, your higher self. Show me the path. Something will be illuminated. Like a video is put before you, like a how to, or, it's like something. Look at that. The Knight of Cups just flipped around. Knight of Cups just flipped around. There's that unexpected cup of fulfillment. I don't feel like it stops it. It definitely halts it. I feel like someone could be freaking out about giving their heart again. But you may have no clue that there's someone of yesteryear who thinks of you. You just may have no clue, and you may have no clue what type of fulfillment this may actually give you. Sandy, I'm used to it always being this way. Well, what's a common denominator? You, 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 you. It's like all your higher selves coming together like a power pack. Even Mother Mary saying action and then joy. It's like the step, like the Two of Wands, stepping upon it. And the joy, I just kind of step into the joy. All right, but here comes the Knight of Cups, reversed. Again, this king may be picking up on your energy wrong. Look at this, the Nine of Cups. Wow. In a way, it could, I could see like divine holding this energy back because this is inner fulfillment. And when you trust your intuition, it's saying this is when you truly have inner fulfillment, when you're true to you, like in the Four of Cups. Instead of looking at the cups that were, I'm going to look at the cup that's coming in. It's probably different. And that's probably a good thing. I need you to know what I'm fighting for. Because this can be yours. I mean, look at this. The Nine of Cups, inner harmony, and the Nine of Pentacles, successful self-employment. or reaping the benefits of your hard work, whatever it may be. I get the sense that this king sees you very independent. Like, I feel like that's the outer you. That's the Virgo sun part of you. It's what I show. It's not what's happening inside, though. It can, and you may be doing fine, like financially, but this is an emotional reading. It's almost like for one reason or another, the Knight of Cups, this unexpected cup of fulfillment, it feels like it is being held back, whether the king is holding it back or whether your guides are holding it back. But I feel the importance is because you need to find that inner harmony within. You need to remind yourself of your strength of your many lifetimes. We're not called the hermit for no reason. And the Nine of Cups, you have that inner harmony. Next is fulfillment of wishes. Some of you could be drowning your sorrows, and therefore you may be missing some messages. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna have a glass of wine, and one turns to two, maybe to nine, and then it's like your guide's like, I can't get through. Anyway, I tried to take the world away. The Emperor. I like this. At the two, right over the Two of Wands. I like that a lot. It is the card of Aries, and it may be Aries for some of you. But, when I think of the Emperor, and this is how I see it, like, automatically I look up to the Emperor. This is someone I can learn from. Doesn't mean you're not an equal. You are, but you're different. This is somebody who is empathetic and compassionate. You'll notice them like helping. Like let's say you go on a date with them. You'll just notice like how they care for people. You feel it. We have the Ten of Wands. Hmm. So, this is you carrying burden. I mean, they're going up a hill. Hmm. I just get this sense that there is like this shift, but it all starts with you. And I feel like when that shift happens, then everything else happens. That night flips around. You find this inner harmony, joy. You're letting go of the Five of Swords for sure. The Five of Wands. What am I fighting for? It wants change. It's a five. And what's mirroring it, the Ten of Wands, I feel like it's saying it doesn't get better. It probably gets worse. And then here you are in this strong, independent energy. And that is your natural energy. And I feel like it's not that your guides are saying, like, you got to fall in love. If you don't want to fall in love, don't fall in love. But you got to be true to you. This is more about a path to your inner harmony. And the rest, I feel like, just takes place. Some of you have been laying the groundwork for like a business. Um, you've been putting in the work, the long hours, what have you. And you may just start seeing now, like truly, the fruits of your labor. What I love about the Nine of Pentacles, it speaks of your hard work. And you are reaping the benefits. Look what flipped around in the deck. Beautiful. Hello, Empress. Over the moon. Some of you, it's like, you just don't realize that you are the Empress. The Empress has been through it all. This is the Emperor's counterpart. Do you know what I mean? They go together like peanut butter and jelly. She is creative. They're both creative, but in different ways. Like I see the Emperor building, building. And I see her like creating, painting, writing. She's pointing right up to the Nine of Pentacles. So, even though it's a love reading, let's not take away what it's saying here, like the potential to create. Some of you, it could be like a romance novel. Even like things that are done in the night, in the dark. How do you know? Because you've been there. All right. There's that power, there's that self worth, all of that. There it all is in the Empress's energy. And it didn't come easy, clearly. It didn't come easy at all. But nonetheless, it's like we're getting ready to turn that corner now, if we haven't already. Well, hello, Ace of Pentacles over the Ace of Swords. Wow. It's almost like the Empress is saying, like, for some of you who've been there and know exactly what I'm talking about, but you're on the other end of it and you feel like the Empress now, and I hope you do. Um, I feel like for some, it's like, that's where my energy's been. Like in my creative house, creating, building, doing, you know, creating success for myself. And I do feel like if you're not successful, that Ace of Pentacles may just be the seed, the beginning, that epiphany that leads to the Nine of Pentacles. Boy, I feel like it's talking about, especially over the Ace of Swords. Ace of Pentacles is something that's coming into your physical world. And even though that Knight of Cups is in reverse, so close to the Pentacle, I feel like what happens out of the blue. Though not with this king to you, not with the king. And the king, by the way, to me is the emperor. Oh my God. Two of Cups. Soulmates. I mean, this is beautiful, Virgo. Getting the emperor and the empress. And trust me when I tell you, I am not thinking about like what's the sign of the other person. Thinking about the type of love. I literally just did a podcast today that talked about karmic soulmates versus true love soulmates. This is a true love soulmate. What was may have been karmic soulmate because just a synchronicity that I just did that. And it's coming over the Four of Cups. And did it not promise that a cup was coming in? I feel like the Ace of Pentacles is really like physically means that it's coming into your life. And look at the Two of Cups under the Nine of Cups. The Magician in reverse over the Five of Wands. This is the year of the Magician. We are the alchemists this year. It carries power with it. The Magician teaches the Fool, and in the Two of Wands is kind of what you are, right? A new journey. And it doesn't have to mean your whole life. It may be just part of it. It might be the emotional part of it. But in the Magician, in reverse over the Five of Wands, I feel like, can I just say that I feel like someone is dealing with something or someone or multiple people where I feel like, boy, it feels like they are robbing you of your energy, of your joy, of your mental status. Like, I feel like they're playing a freaking number. And I feel like, I almost feel like there's only one answer, and that is to leave it. Whatever they may mean, sometimes it's not possible to physically leave, but I may just say, no more. Again, with the Empress here, and it's beautiful that we have the Emperor and the Empress, and in between is the soulmates. This represents 2026. And it is mirroring the Ten of Wands. I feel like it's really speaking to you. Again, if I think something's going to change that is ego based, let's say, I should think again because I feel like it won't. But this chapter is opening up nonetheless. So, and think about that. Whatever you're pulling forward is stuck with you. This is your new chapter. This is your new chapter. All right. I'm just going to go below. Or I think I'm just going to take two. 'Cause I feel like I'm getting to the point where am I trying to talk you into something which is really not my job? And I can see the majority of it is free will. Oh my God, I've never been so happy to see this card. This is moving on, leaving it behind. You know, you can even look at her, the atmosphere she's in is cold, it's icy. It's interesting. It feels like, and there's the moon, like she's leaving during the moonlight. There's the moon right there. I am so happy to see that card. You know, and to be honest, whatever happens after that, I know it'll be good. However it happens. Even if, like, you say no, it doesn't even matter. I still feel like you found yourself. You found, you found inner harmony, or you're on your way to it. Four of Swords, healing, beautiful. Nine of Wands. You know, this is perfect because this is looking back, just like I did before the card when I was shuffling the cards, and how it had me reflect back, and it wasn't with judgment. It was to show me how every step had led me to right where I was, and they weren't all good steps, or I should say, easy. Many were hard. The one that started me on the path was hard. But nonetheless, you know, this is knowing where you've been, knowing who you've been in it, and therefore you'll know where you're going. You know, your potential of the Nine of Cups and Nine of Pentacles is just beautiful. And then the Page of Wands, my little risk taker. My little risk taker. You know, it's funny, this is a love reading, and we have the beautiful soulmates, and we have the couple that, you know, can certainly be a twin flame for some. Because I do believe we have 11 under here also. But nonetheless, um, you know, I feel like for some of you, you're going back, but you may be going back. How do I say this? Well, I feel like the best thing I could say here is just trust the journey and allow the journey to unfold. And if you decide, like, then let that be. But I have a feeling that you're going to be like, okay. And by the way, the Emperor and the Empress, you know, I'm sure they have lived many past lives together. And just the synchronicities within their lives, different, but similar at the same time. This is someone you probably find like notebooks around them where they write things down, you know, like plans. And the Empress is more someone like, oh, I got an idea. I'm going to go with it. All right, let's bring out the romance angels. You know, and I feel like this is telling you also, like, you will heal. Like, whatever you're going through, if you make that decision, you will heal. And I have to tell you, because there's so much angst and, what feels like not great energy, I feel like when this energy comes in, whoa, um, I feel like quickly you'll know the difference. And there's no one who trusts her intuition more than um the Empress. And that's what you want to go on. All right, we got a few cards. Okay, interesting how it came reversed, but I don't really read these in reverse. Stay optimistic about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. Kind of in reverse, but look at this. How about true love? So not only the soulmates, but then true love. Not only the emperor and the empress and the soulmates, but then also true love. This is the romance of a lifetime. It's probably why I kept saying, like, I just don't think you know this yet. Like, I feel like for some of you, you haven't had this type of fulfillment emotionally. Like, material wise, like you could do whatever you want to do. An idea can turn into a business. But emotionally, wow, worth waiting for. Interesting. Divine timing is at work in your love life. That's beautiful. Some do think, like, well, I'll never have true love. But yet you're in a situation that you know is horrible. And even though it may be hard to leave, and I'm not telling you to, but I am saying, like, to reach this, I also have to be at a place that I'm open to it. Like the Empress, open and nurturing. Doesn't mean she automatically says yes, but her heart is open. Why? Because she's learned to forgive, to let go. Like there's some people we can't change, and that's just got to be okay. Some people who were telling us maybe hateful things, and we're buying them. But now we got to see the truth. It's their truth. That's not even their truth. It's just words. But words can cut. Anyway, so I feel like the Nine of Cups is the ticket to inner harmony. Just, I feel like, brings the rest. This isn't telling you, like, go out and look for that love. It's telling you it's your positive thinking and your faith that brings romance. And not any old romance. This is the romance of a lifetime. I felt that. And divine timing at work in your love life, well, sometimes, just sometimes, divine is waiting on us. Like, I'm not going to intervene because this is how you figure out your power. It reminds me of like a situation I was in years and years ago. And I remember thinking to myself, man, no one's going to save me. Can't believe it. Until one day, I decided it was me. I had to save me and my kids. I had to be the savior. And so I was. And from that moment on, my life changed. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been great to have someone come in, like, swoop me away and, like, but the power of walking away, the power of leaving, the power of saying no more. I know I don't deserve this. I'm better than this. Like, your guides don't want to take that away from you. And for some of you, this is what you're learning. Empress, I'm telling you, she didn't get there overnight. All right, I'm gonna let that be. I feel like this, I started this series to do like shorter readings, um, to give like the in-betweeners, but they're turning along again. Anyways, I know yours was. Um, Boy, I don't know. I can't wait to hear your comments. And I don't know why I feel like I'm being delicate in your reading. Like I need kid gloves. I don't know why. Anyway, I love you guys. I thank you. I always love reading for you. Truly. Um, wow. Virgo. I love you. Bye bye.